Okay, I think it's time we begin. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our webinar today. My name is Renata Pavlovska, and I'm an event marketing specialist at IW Connect, and I will be your webinar host today. Our primary plan was to host this webinar on Macedonian, our native language, but we are happy that we had a lot of registrants that are outside of our country. So that is why we decided to switch it and do it on English. I hope you don't mind. Today we will discuss automation using Jira and Xray. And our speakers for today are Darko Gichevski and Maria Radezhova. They are both senior QA engineers at IW Connect, and they have a long years of experience in the QA industry. Before we begin, we usually like to get to know our participants, so I will launch a quick poll with simple questions that will not take you more than 3 minutes to fill. It will be nice to know our audience today. Please, if you can, fill them out. Thank you again for joining us, and without further ado, Darko, feel free to begin this presentation. Enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Renata, for your lovely presentation. So, hello to everybody. First of all, I want to thank you for attending this webinar. We appreciate your time, and we can promise you that in the next hour, you will enjoy it. Some of you will learn new things, and the others who have more experience in the IT industry, like testers, will see a different approach and solution how to improve their automation testing processes using the #1 tools at the marketplace in the domain areas like Jira and Xray. This webinar will be split up into 2 parts. The first one will be the theoretical part, and the second one will be the practical. And we will finish this present webinar with question and answer session. So if you have questions, please note them. You will have time to ask them. So let's start with the basics. What is software testing? Software testing is a process of evaluating the functionality of a software application to find any software bugs. It checks whether the developed software meets the specific requirement and identifies any defect in the software in order to produce a quality product. We can split the software testing into 2 types of categories: manual and automation. Manual testing is the process of manually reviewing and testing a software application for errors, defects, and/or vulnerabilities. This type of testing is performed by software developers and the testers without any automation tool to identify any defects within the software from perspective experience of an end user. On the other hand, we have the automation testing. So automation testing is a method in software testing that makes use of special software tools to control the execution of tests and then compares actual test results with expected results. All of this is done automatically with little or no interventions from the test engineers. Automation is used to add additional testing that may be too difficult to perform manually. Before I continue in the next slide, I want to point some things here that we cannot say which type is better. Each of them has its own advantages and disadvantages. I can say that in the software development lifecycle, we need both of them to be able to confirm the quality of the product. Because today's presentation is mostly focused on automation testing approach and a solution that we create for one of our clients, and we want to present to all of you who joined this webinar, we can go deeply into automation process. So why is the automation testing needed? The errors can cause a defect or failure at any stage of software development lifecycle. The results are classified as trivial or catastrophic, depending on the consequences of the error and their nature. So here on the right side of your screen, we have a list of some of the main topics that our clients, you, and everybody who will use automation in their normal testing processes will get if you implement automation testing. You will receive the quality. The quality will be increased. The performance of your testing team and testing work will be also increased. The costs are decreased. Here I want to point something. Even in the short stages, if you engage some automation engineers, maybe the costs will be bigger than the manual testers, but in the long stages, definitely the costs will be decreased. Only on the if we have big complex projects where we will have multiple teams, when we develop all our automation test cases and we finish and they're working as a stable versions, after that you will need to spend time on maintenance only. The efficiency of the testing is also increased. Automation test steps can speed up the process because we will have we will have machines who will run the jobs and our test cases in the time when we want to do this. Also, the boost in return on our investment will be increased. Boost in employee morale. Definitely the morale of your team members will be increased. And the last part that I want to show here is the test coverage also will be increased. With automation test cases and test processes, we can be able to cover many more scenarios, like positive and negative as well. So let's go deeply to the different types of testing. Here I will present the Agile testing. So why Agile testing is important here, and it's a trendy in the this year in the couple of years that will follow. So the Agile, what is the definition of Agile testing? A software testing practice that follows the principles of Agile software development is called Agile testing. In other words, Agile testing means testing software for defects or any other issues quickly or within the context of Agile and give quick feedback for better and faster development of the project. Agile testing can begin at the start of the project with continuous integration between the developers and the testing teams. In the right side of the image, you will see a cycle and phases, which is actually a meetings where the decisions are made between the teams that are involved in the process of creating one software product. I will not go to explain all of the stages and different types of meetings where the teams discussing about the issues that we have in our application. They try to fix them and they try to plan their upcoming releases to go to production. As teams adopt Agile for managing software development, tools like Jira and Xray provide the foundation for handling projects in an Agile way by promoting collaboration, transparency, commitment, and flexibility between the different teams. What is QAOps and what is QAOps testing strategy? QAOps is a framework that fuses the principles of DevOps, where software development and IT operations teams collaborate and combine processes with quality assurance. This framework was created to improve software delivery processes and workflows without sacrificing the quality of the application or platform. On the image, you can see a list of famous and most used platforms and tools for implementing QAOps in our demo presentation. One of the strategic stages Software development work is testing. Every single package of code should be tested in order to identify and fix bugs as quick as possible. In addition to automation, it is important that the environment bridges the silos between the development and the operation teams in line with DevOps principles. In today's demo presentation, we will use some of the famous tools on the marketplace. So we will use Jira software, where we will create our requirements. We will use Xray, which is a #1 test management plugin integrated with Jira to create our test cases and test executions. We will try to do integration between our test cases created in Xray and Microsoft Azure, where we will actually execute them automatically. And for creating our test scripts, we will use Cucumber and Selenium. The last part is the Microsoft Azure platform, where we will create our builds from where we can execute our test cases. And we will receive the results, we will populate it back to our Jira instance. So let me introduce you the automation testing approach that we will implement in our demo session. The first stage is to create our requirements. We will use a story as an issue type, and we will create these requirements in Jira. After that, the second stage is we will start with creating our test cases. In our case, we will use a Cucumber test cases. We will create them in Xray. The third stage is prepare test scripts. Actually, we will our test scripts in matter of time, in the interest of time, we prepare already our test scripts. We use Eclipse, Selenium, and Cucumber. We will configure the second stage is we configure our Azure environment where we will put our test cases, and in the last stage we will start with build action and we will execute our test cases, and in the end the results from our execution will be returned back to our Jira instance. Before I leave the stage to my colleague Maria, I just want to mention again, please take your notes. After this demo session, we will have a question and answer session. Maria, go ahead.
Thank you, Darko, for your introduction and for your presentation. I will also want to thank you all for your presence here on this webinar.
Maria, share your screen, please. Sorry.
I will. Thank you for reminding me. And I would like to thank you all for your presence here on this webinar. And also I'm looking forward for your feedbacks. And not to waste your time, let's start with the demonstration. First of all, that is the name of this webinar is stated, that we will use Jira instance. So we already created one Jira Cloud instance, and we added Xray test management tool as a plugin, and we configured it properly as Darko mentioned. Also, we created sample project, which we will use in this demonstration, where we already created few test issues, This story issue type is Jira specific issue type, but our hero is Xray, so we will also use Xray issue types. Story, as it is just a place where we store all the information for some test scenario. So in this sample, we will use some sample of sign-in functionality on automation practice site. This is some site that we will use for testing purposes. We added some description that all related test cases for sign-in functionality will be linked here from this story. And our hero Xray provides us ability to create test issues type. So we can create it from this screen. Also, we can create it from the default create button in the Jira instance. So let's use this button, and we will see that creation of the test issue types is very easy. It's not some science fiction, and we can say that let's see all the issue types that we can use. So some of them are Jira specific issue types, but this one are Xray specific issue types. So let's use this test issue type. Let's give a name, for example, signing functionality and automation site, but this will be just one test case. So let's say that it will be a positive scenario. And we will add some description, signing functionality on automation practice site with valid username and that's it. All the other settings we will leave default. Okay, let's assign to me, but it's not required. So we already created the test issue type, and we will open it on the big screen to see it more. So this is the test issue type that we created. We can see that it's linked to the story. And we can see here that we can enter some step. Xray supports Gherkin-based frameworks since its first version. One of the frameworks used in behavior-driven development context is Cucumber, but we can choose also generic and manual. But in this sample, we will use Cucumber test type. If you're familiar with Cucumber, you will know that here we need to have some specifications that will run, that Cucumber tool will run in order to execute the tests. So the specification of the scenario will go here, and we can enter our scenario. I have prepared one scenario, basic scenario, written in Gherkin language. Gherkin language is really easy and descriptive language. As you can see, that everybody can understand what the issue, what the test scenario is, that we will have given user in home page. When user navigates the sign-in page, user enters valid username and valid password, then user should be successfully logged in See My account. Then end test by closing the window. So this is the specification for our test scenario. Also, this is really helpful when in collaborative way, that this scenario can understand business people, development, coding, testing roles. So everybody can agree on what compose a feature. This is a feature, or let's say a story itself along with the respective acceptance criteria. So that is called scenario. Okay, so we have created Cucumber test and wrote specification in Gherkin language. Xray provides the tooling to create and manage the specification inside Jira and to import and export. So we can import and export this scenario and use it in our implementation of code. The implementation of code is done outside of Jira. So it's done in some other ID. For example, here we will use Eclipse ID for implementation of the code. We use Java code for implementation of the step definition of that specification. So let's see. For example, Here is the implementation of the specifications. You can see that every step is having its own implementation, calling its method and the locators. It's having a run Cucumber test class. So this is the runner class where it's specified what features we'll use, and the output of this scenario will be in JSON format. So it will be called report JSON. I want to mention here that we are using POM as a page object model that is really useful when creating tests, because as you can see that every methods, locators, page objects, or step definition, runner class are separated in separate projects. So it's really easy to maintain and to reuse after it. Also, you can see that here we have the Maven dependencies, because it will be run as Maven. And in the POM file, every Maven project is having a POM file where we entered the dependencies for Cucumber, JUnit, Selenium. So as you can see, we will use Selenium WebDriver because the scenario itself, it would be run on browser, reach the page and make sign in. So what is most important here? We can see that feature file is missing here. And we know that for running Cucumber test, we need a feature file. So we need the specification of all the step definitions. And we see here that we don't have it. So our purpose is to pull that feature file from the test issue that we created and run the test. And everything will be done in Azure Devops. So Azure Devops. What's Azure Devops? Azure Devops is our account used to use Azure Devops services. We created webinar demo project for this purpose, and we will use this for running a pipeline or CI/CD execution. But first, I will let you know that we will use the repos and pipeline services. Repos is the destination, or to say location, where our implementation of the code is stored. Azure Repos service includes unlimited cloud-hosted private Git repository, and that is a folder where the test code is located and Git track file changes in. We can use other repo types as GitHub, Bucket, or etc. But in this demo, we will use the one that Azure provides us. So it's a built-in service. So we are seeing here that the code is already pushed on the master branch of the repo. And we can see also here that we have it locally. The feature file is empty. There is some sample text, but it's just sample. So we don't have the features file. What we will do? We can see here that there is one additional file called Azure Pipelines YAML. That is the main execution file used for pipelines. Azure Pipelines has components like build, release, library, test groups, development groups, and etc. In the repo, let's see how we can integrate the, let me show you the Azure pipeline content. main file content. And we can see here that we will use bash commands. So the Azure pipelines YAML consists of steps. And we use bash commands for interaction with Xray. We see that we have one step, bash step that uses URL command for authorization and pulling the token. And this is the most important part that we will use, is to pull the features or extract the features from the Xray test issue and unzip it, because it will be compressed, unzip it in our project. That's how Maven can run test, and we will have the results in JSON format, which after that we will import back into the Xray. So let's see in practical way. Also, I would mention that here I have already entered some credentials that will be used, that would be used for interaction with Xray, client ID and client secret. They are needed for this step when we will pull the token. And also the key is the issue identifier of our test that we have created. So let's import it here. That's how we will say, take the feature specification or feature file from this issue. Okay, let's say, and run the pipeline. Here, while executing, I will say a few words about every step, but please take notes if you have any questions, because in order of the time, we will make it short. Introduction of every step. We can see now that it's initializing the environment, so we can see that is checking out the code, get the token, get the feature from Xray. We can see that the feature already was pulled and added to the IVA project that we will run, that would be run by the pipeline. So here is the step of Maven. Maven is configured Azure Devops task for running POM configuration, and we use this task to build our test Java code. I want to mention that get feature from Xray step is using the REST API of Xray for pulling the feature file. So we see that the test is already run. Browser in headless mode, because it's on virtual machine. So we can see test is already run. And we see here that the feature from the Xray test issue was pulled with its content. You can see that the same steps were provided in the test issue type. So we see that there is an assert error. This is making it properly because we want to see a failed test. That's how we will manage to see the error. Okay. The error says that we are not seeing my account, which is expected. if we are logged in, we want to see my account displayed on the screen, and the assertion error is saying that it's not present on the screen. But also we added here one more command to continue execution of the pipeline, even that Maven failed. And we can see, because by default, Azure Devops will skip all the test steps after it if there is some error happen. But also that is on purpose made. So we see now that the send result to Xray step is also in bash command, which use CRL command to interact with Xray. And we see that some issue was created with identifier as Maria 145. That means the test execution is already created in our Jira instance. Let's see. Also, that test execution will be related with this test issue. So we are able to see it here or in our board. If we refresh this screen. Here we are seeing that as Maria 145 test execution issue is created, and it's related to this test issue. With all details, we see the status failed. We see when it started and from which, who is executed. I will get back here on Azure Devops after it. Just let's see what test execution issue is having into details. So this test execution issue is created automatically by test execution in the pipeline with all the details from the report JSON that was provided by Maven test run. We can see here that assignment executed by variables, parameters, failed status, when it started, when it's finished. We see the test description, we see the test issue, the story is related to. We can see the test details. And the most important, we can see the results. For every step, we can see that the given user in a home page passed, when user navigator sign in page passed, user enters valid username and valid password passed, but we see here that the user cannot see my account. Why? Because we entered wrong password. So the user is not able to see what he is expected to. Also, we have evidence, we have a screenshot from that, and we can see that there is an error, authentication failed. Okay, so everything good. This is the scenario done automatically with no human effort. That is our desire. Let's go back to the pipelines just to mention the other steps. This is a step to generate HTML report. It's a bash-based step which use node command to run JavaScript index.js file and generate the HTML report based on report JSON output. Send greeting email is Azure built task for sending emails through SendGrid application. And publish HTML report is a task that I prefer because it's really friendly. That's how we can see our HTML report back here. So this is really nice stuff for the testers. I know that everybody that worked for it want to see such thing like this one. So we see the step that failed. Okay, this was the automation process, but also we created, and the last step was to clean the environment. I want to mention that one key thing that we must decide is where do we want to manage the cucumber scenarios. As we see in this scenario, we use this Xray as a master for holding the specification. But what if you want, or we already have existing test scenarios in our computer, and we are really lazy to create test issues here. So that can also be done automatically. All test issues can be created automatically by sending a feature file through REST API, through URL command. So the second approach that we prepare for this demonstration is that we will use Git as a master for our features and corresponding scenarios. Let's see the second approach. In this scenario, we will use simple, well-known calculator test project, which consists of several test scenarios like addition, multiplication, subtraction, or other simple operations that calculator is doing. And we have written feature files already in the location where the calculator code or test implementation code is located. So we can see that we already wrote some test scenarios. They are identifiers with some tag. And we can see that multiple scenarios or scenario outline is when we use more inputs in one scenario. So we can also make it automatically to replace the input 1, input 2, and with these values. So these are some feature files that we already created in our test code. But we don't have, these scenarios are not existing in our test issue instance, in our Jira instance. Let's see here in our backlog. We see that here we have the story that we used previously. We have the test issue that we have created now. We have the execution results, and we have one test set for calculator scenarios, but we don't have tests related to it. So let's run the second demo project, and we will expect the test issues to be created automatically. So we can see here that everything is the same. We have just the feature zip file already implemented on our Git master, on our master branch. There are some other additional scripts that I used in this pipeline, but they are not necessary to be here. Let's execute the demo project. We see here we can see that the date when it's run And this is the second time that we run this pipeline. So this is useful. So the same steps, initializing the environment, preparing the machine for execution, checking out the code from the repository, get the token. So this is the different step that we used here, is sending the feature to Xray. While in the before scenario, we use just this one, get feature from Xray. So what is the difference? Here, the difference is that we send the feature from here and the tests are automatically created. Let's see, this is a PowerShell script that I used to extract the issues that were created. So we see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues are created. Let's check. So there are 5 issues, test issues created. They are divide to numbers. Let's see. Divide to numbers. It's related to the test set with the scenario itself. So that's how we already created our test issues. Simple integer addition, negative integer. They're all fulfilled. And also we can see it from here, from the test set, that all of them are created and related. Let's go back to the pipeline and see what happened. So also, I want to say why we are using again get feature from Xray. It is crucial to use this exported feature instead of the ones that we send it, because these feature files will have the tag related to the issue created. So that's why it's necessary to pull or extract the feature again, because they will have different content. So we can see the Maven execution, and I will show you what is that I'm saying. Here are all the scenarios that were run for calculating. This is that I was speaking. The features pulled or extracted from Xray or from the Jira instance will have these tags, and when we send the results back, it will know to relate for the results to this issue. So the test execution report that we issue that will be created in the Xray will have link to the issue that was created. So we are sending the result, and we can see that test execution issue is created. Other steps are the same: generate HTML report, publish HTML report, and cleaning the instance. Let's see the execution. So the test execution will be linked everywhere. It will be linked in the test set. You see that all of the steps, it has its own status. Let's refresh all the screens. And see the details. the details for the test execution issue. I said, and I will repeat because it's really, we see that it's great. Here it is. It's really important to say that again, that the execution results will have the details for every test scenario separately. And we can see the details for every test case. All of the parameters are fulfilled by the report JSON that we get as output of the test execution. Let's see, here we have all the steps passed. So we didn't make it this test scenario to fail. I know that testers want to see green color, that's why they don't want to see this red line. So that is from my part. Really want to hear your feedback and let me know for everything you're interested in. I will be glad to have a discussion. Darko, you want to say something else?
Yes, thank you, Maria, for your lovely presentation. I know that maybe this is complicated to understand for some of you who don't have experience, but in the interest of time, we definitely need to catch every single step in this presentation. So if you have any more detailed question, how we managed to realize this project and this approach, please share your opinion, share your thoughts, and we can answer all of them. So now it's, I think, time for all question and answers session. If you have any questions, Maria, can you please stop share your screen?
Yes,
Thank you,
sure.
guys. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. So we're officially opening a Q&A session. Anyone who has a question can pop it up on in the Q&A tab. We already have one question from Vladislav. It's actually two questions. How does Azure Devops integrated with Jira Xray, since Azure Devops also has in itself a task management system similar to Jira? This is his first question. I will read the second one later.
Okay, let me answer.
Okay. Marco?
Okay, go ahead, Maria. Okay.
Azure DevOps, yes, but also whatever CI or CD tool is used, no matter what. So we have made it implementation in GitHub Actions or GitLab. So Jenkins already have plugin for that, yes. But whatever CI CD is used, it's okay. So it's a basic bash command, that CRL command that we use for interaction.
Sorry, Renata, I want to add additional comment here. So this is a requirement that we realized for one of our clients. Definitely, there is a lot of other possibilities and choices. Also, there is other tools that can be used for this kind of implementation, but we want to use the top trend tools such as Jira and Xray at the moment, definitely Microsoft Azure as well. So that's why we want to cover as like end-to-end complete automation flow. It's really good question. Thank you, Vladislav.
Vladislav has another question. Which companies do you work with? Do all of them have Jira Xray Azure as a tech stack? Or is it not important for you which technical stack your clients at IW Connect have?
As I said, is not matter. It can be implemented everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I hope that
But
answers your question.
Xray is our hero for test scenarios. So that was our purpose, to use the test issues types that Xray provide ability to use them.
Yeah, definitely. We will not say with every tool depends. Xray supports and Jira supports a lot of different tools that can be integrated with, but depends on the needs of our clients or depends on ourselves how we want to implement. But there is a big set of tools that Jira and Xray supports.
Thank you, Darko and Maria, for the answer. I hope, Vladislav, that answers your question. We have another question. How to integrate Xray with GitLab? Who will take this?
Maria, if you want?
Yes, for sure. Cleanup steps are the full steps that pipeline is doing. So it's not important. In this demo, I didn't add an extra step for it. So it's the full step that that Azure pipeline service is doing. But also you can have separate steps for it. In this sample, I didn't use, so it's done automatically.
Definitely, we can integrate with GitLab as well.
Basically, you can do everything. Thank you.
Sorry, I was answering the second question. Sorry, you don't need to read it. How do you specify execution cleanup steps? That I was answering. Sorry.
Okay, so we already answered that one.
Yes.
We have another one. In what projects, domains have you implemented this type of automation with Xray?
We implemented in different projects domains. So we are not allowed to answer those questions directly here, but definitely if you have a specific question, you can see on the screen probably our emails and write all your questions that you have, and we can try to answer them.
Thank you. About the other question, we have a whole blog dedicated to GitLab, so feel free to visit our website, iwconnect.com, and you can find it as well for further information and more details.
Yes, because I already mentioned that no matter what CI/CD tool is you can use. So we already provide some blog posts on our webpage, and you can visit them and read about it.
We have a specific blog dedicated to integrating GitLab and Xray, so I think it would be useful. Thank you very much. Another question from Simona. Are you guys usually performing unit testing or integration and end-to-end testing? What type of applications do you normally test, or ones that you normally see in customer portfolios?
Okay, I will take that question. We perform different types of testing. Depends on the requirements. We are gladly want to provide even more quality and to our clients. So we try our best if it's possible, because not every step, every scenario is possible to realize from start to end. But definitely we want to catch end-to-end scenarios and cover as much steps as we need, and be sure in our quality in our products and services that we offer to our clients. And the second part was what type of applications? Different types of applications, even they are based on web or they are desktop applications. Definitely we are working for different types of clients who have from different industries as well. And we have many experience. Actually, we have more than 15 years experience in pure industry. So we have lots of experienced colleagues here who share their knowledge with all of us. And we try to solve every requirement from our clients. Thank you, Simona, for your question.
Thank you for your answer, Darko. We have a question from Goran. Do you have screenshot evidence in case of past steps?
Yes, you can implement that in your code. So that is just after step on the test scenario. So you can say, take screenshots from failed steps or take screenshots from every step, so no matter. And that will be also in the result file and will be imported into the Xray result test execution issue.
Thank you. We have another question. Can Xray be used or downloaded for free?
Definitely. Let's clarify this part. Jira and Xray, both of these tools have free versions, but restricted free versions. We can use for several users in their free plans, but for more users, we definitely need to buy licenses. From 1 to 10 users, you can use it free. You can simply install it, install in your machines and use it free for 3 to 6 months. And after that, you can be able to extend for other 6 months from if you ask Xray team. They're very friendly, definitely. They want to collaborate with their users.
We have from Goran, let me be more specific about the cleanup question. Imagine a scenario where you add an item to a cart. Do you specify the steps to remove the item from the cart in Cucumber, even though removing the item is not part of the test case? If not, how do you handle that?
Okay, so this is, yes, another thought. That depends from the scenario. So if you imagine a removing cart, we must have the step which will remove the cart. That's how we are handling it.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Goran, if you want if you want more details, please feel free to reach out to our emails and we can further discuss how you can be able to solve such a problem if you have and you're using the same tools. Thank you for your question.
Specific test scenario. So for every scenario, there is another specification. So we must have the step where we will remove. Maybe we can do it in the separate specification where we have cleaning up database or whatever. So can be also done separately. So it depends from the test scenario.
Thank you. So basically it depends. You have your email addresses. So Goran, feel free to reach out for any further details and you can get this clear. Simona has another question. What is one of the biggest and typical challenges you encounter in testing for large customer portfolios?
Really good question with lots of details.
Do you remember, Darko, do you remember all of them?
I remember some of them, definitely, but
most recently.
Yeah, but every client have his own wishes and his own specific requirements. Depends on their business. They have a lot of requirements, and we are thanks. Until now, we managed to resolve most of them, because some of the requirements are not that easy to implement and provide to our clients. So I will be diplomatic in my answer here.
Thank you. We have a question from Stefan. Which platforms can be covered with the approach? Only RW or?
It can be covered. Which platforms? In which way he thinks platforms? If he is thinking of testing frameworks, we can use whatever testing framework, for example, robot framework. Also, the same is done. Xray provides a schema for test importing. So whatever framework or test type we used, we can import the test execution results into Xray.
I
To
hope
be
that-
sorry, Renata. To be more specific here in this answer, I want to add additional comment here that in our approach, here we realize this scenario with Jira, Xray, Microsoft Azure. Depends on if we use different tools. Definitely, this automation process, like it is, can be implemented, but we need to add additional commands, additional tools, and it's possible to integrate it. Again, depends on the needs.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Stefan. Another question: how does Xray differ from Zephyr?
Xray at the moment is the #1 test management plugin for Jira. Zephyr, we know Zephyr as well. It's also a test management plugin in Jira. But what is the difference, and what is the in which areas Xray is better than Zephyr? Definitely in the organization of our test cases, in organization of our test executions. We have lots of features and functionalities provided by Xray, who will take care about the reporting part, about how we can import our test cases. We are able to integrate Xray with many other CI/CD tools, for example, different tools that we are using. Depends on the clients, depends on what we are doing. I can tell, or I can talk 1 hour what are the advantages of Xray against Zephyr. I'm a fan of Xray, definitely, but in the interest of time, I will stop here. I think I answered this question.
And also, we can mention that recently we were working on a project where the client wanted to just migrate from Zephyr to Xray. So probably he got it, the pros from Xray.
He had a reason. Thank you, guys.
Sorry, we are not haters of Zephyr.
No,
definitely.
of course.
We are using also Zephyr, yes.
Yeah, but we are more fans to Xray, definitely.
Thank you. Do we have another question?
Very interesting questions. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you all. And
great questions.
Be free to contact us anytime. We want to continue with such as webinars if you are interested. Also, we want to have invitation for such other webinars if you know that will worth it.
Thank you. We're receiving comments. Thank you, everyone. We are glad you liked the wonderful presentation Maria and Darko gave. I think it's time to close up this webinar. It was really great hearing you guys. Thank you for all of you that spared some time and were with us this past hour. We hope we answered your questions, and this will also definitely continue in future. So thank you, Maria and Darko again. Thank you, everyone else, and see you on our next webinar. Have a great evening.
Thank
you,
you,
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.